Edmund the General, also known as the Rant, coming at you guys again with the Rant. And it's a very disappointing subject to discuss today. Very disappointing. I don't know about y'all, but I think I'm sick and tired of seeing black people being put in the limelight of crime, aggression. I think I'm at that point where it's actually embarrassing. It's been embarrassing for a very, very, very long time. But it seems like nowadays it's just getting worse and worse. You know, let me ask y'all something, right? And answer truthfully. What kind of a neighborhood do you live in? Is it a predominantly black, or is it a predominantly white neighborhood, or is it a mixture of both? If you're living in a so that's one question, right? If you're living in a predominantly black neighborhood, do you enjoy living there? Are you okay with living there? Are you comfortable living there? Do you feel like it's justified that the crime that you see in your neighborhood, in your area, is okay? Is it justified? Or are you the type of person that wants to evacuate, leave that neighborhood and go to a place that's safer? So most likely you're not going to get the same treatment in a white neighborhood. Am I correct or am I wrong? Rhetorical question, of course. Now, my neighborhood is predominantly white. It's nothing to brag about, but I see the faces on certain people in that neighborhood who are not familiar with me, depending on the time of day if I'm coming through. Whereas if they don't recognize who I am, they're going to look at me a certain way to try to figure out, who is this guy? Why is he around here? Never seen him before. Versus the mothers and fathers that are in the area who are familiar with me, they're okay as far as I've seen, and they're cool. We all look out for each other. We have meetings, we have conversations, things like that, right? Feel safe. We don't see crime. The only issue that we will have is if children are not going into school on time, right? That's it. Now, these circumstances right here are very interesting. Frank Olton. Frank Olton apparently is some clown who's going door to door asking to come in. A black man. I'm very disappointed to even talk about this situation. Frank Olton. And guess what, guys? He's FBA. He is an FBA. Look at the robust hairline. See the hairline? See that face of his? FBA all the way. Salute to the FBAs. Y'all don't take accountability for the things that y'all do. And there's always an excuse. There's always some kind of from a victimhood. There's always a reason why. And the blame has always been put on white supremacy, which is bullshit. You cannot blame white supremacy for your actions. Not just for you, FBAs, but I'm talking about for people in general. People in general, if you commit a crime, you deserve to go to jail. Crime. Depending on the crime, the severity will apply. Frank Olton, this FBA brother right here, goes door to door. This was in Queens, New York. This guy finds a 76 and a 77-year-old couple. So he's going door to door, asking people to come in for some odd reason. Now, hold on. Now, he ruined it for all of us. For a lot of us. You're black, you're in an area, you're stranded, you don't know where to go, you need help, you probably need some form of direction, you might not have your phone, it's probably dead, whatever, you need some help. So you're going to be going through an area, a neighborhood that you're probably unfamiliar with, and you're going to ask people for help, knock door to door. Genuinely asking for help. Genuinely. And I want it to be that you have the trust to open the first look through the people, then open the door and ask respectfully, hey, is everything okay? And then they will give you a good enough reason to say, hey, I need help because blah, 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 and then you can proceed to help. I would wish that this could be the case. Frank Olton ruined that for all of us. Another question. Do you guys ever walk through your neighborhood and get the side eyes from any other people in your area? Do you? Do you even care? Some people are so comfortable that they don't, that's a different story. So let's just not even get into that. Let's just stick to the topic at hand. Rescuers who came to a burning house in Queens found Frank Olton, 76, bound in the basement with his wife Maureen. Okay, so I am wrong with the name. His name is Jamel McGriff. My bad. His name is Jamel McGriff. Jamel McGriff. That's his name, Jamel McGriff. Wow, I messed up just now. It's a good thing I'm reading. So Frank Olton, 76, bound in the basement with his wife Maureen, 77, dead on the first floor. A burning house in Queens found Frank Olton, 76, bound in the basement with his wife Maureen, who's 77, dead on the first floor. The police are seeking a man with a lengthy criminal record, Jamel McGriff, who was wanted in connection with a fiery double homicide in Queens on Monday. This is some time ago. September the 11th is what I'm looking at for this particular article. The man approached the first house on Monday morning with a request. Could he come inside to charge his phone? See? Could I come inside to charge my phone? See, this, I didn't even read this before. I had no idea what this was all about. I just brought up scenarios at the beginning to say if I needed help, depending on the circumstance, I would appreciate it if somebody would let me in, black, white, Chinese, whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is what this guy, his excuse was to charge his phone. Rebuffed, he walked to the next house, a compact 2-story home on a tree-lined street in Belrose, Queens, belonging to Frank and Maureen Olton. There, the police said the man was invited into the yard and then through the house's back door. He stayed for 5 hours and emerged just after 3 p.m. with 2 bags in his hands. 15 minutes later, the house was ablaze. Emergency responders rushed over. When the flames were tamped down, officers found the 2 bodies inside. Mr. Olton, 76, lashed to a pole. I should say he was tethered to the pole in the basement with stab wounds on his body, and Mrs. Olton, 77, badly burned and lying on the first floor.
Oh my God.
This is crazy work. This is crazy work. On Tuesday, the police were searching for a man they said was responsible for setting the fire and for a startling act of violence. Jamel McGriff. He was 42, has a lengthy violent criminal history stretching back 30 years. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said during a news briefing on Tuesday afternoon. For the public, the message is clear, the commissioner said. The suspect's MO is to go door to door, asking for some kind of assistance until he can gain entry. So do not allow anyone you don't know or who you are not expecting into your home. See what I'm saying? As far as I understood from my parents and their parents, back in their day, they were able to leave the door open of their home. People were able to walk in, but people weren't just not like willy-nilly just doing that. Of course, a phone call or a knock on the door would be, hey, can I come in? Blah, blah, blah. But doors are unlocked. It wasn't locked. It was safe. Even your car was unlocked. There was no robberies involved. Nobody's trying to steal your radio or steal your system or rob your tires. Back in those days. So just get worse and worse. And you know, blacks, we gotta come to the conclusion and accept the fact that there's a lot of black people out here who are committing crime. You know what? Let me get the definition of crime. Because I heard some clown say that black people don't commit crime. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in the world. Crime definition.
Oh my god.
An action or omission that constitutes an offense that may be prosecuted by the state and is punishable by law. An act or activity that is considered to be shameful, wrong, or mistaken. So when they say black crime, it's a crime that it's an act that they've committed that is punishable by law. If it was white crime, it's an act punishable by law, a wrongful act. Chinese crime, Ukraine crime, political crime. It's crime. Crime is crime. Doesn't matter if it's organized or not. Organized crime has a different definition. But crime is crime. Let's just get that out the way. An action or omission that constitutes an offense that may be persecuted by the state and is punishable by law. An act or activity that is considered to be shameful. A lot of y'all don't have shame. Wrong or mistaken. It's a crime. So, the fact that blacks are committing crime, we have to accept the fact that not all of us are into these kind of things. Not all of us accept it. I am one that would represent the fact that if I see or I know that there's something wrong, you're going down. You're going down. I don't tolerate that at all. I want to live in an environment where I'm safe, kids are safe, family's safe, people are safe. I don't want to be looking over my head all the time trying to figure out, if I'm going to get taken out or not. I don't want that. No. It's got to be perfect, or at least close. At the time of the crime, on Monday morning, Mr. McGriff was out on parole after serving more than 16 years for a first-degree robbery he committed in 2006, according to the police. So he served 16 years. This FBA 16 years?
Oh my goodness.
In November, Mr. McGriff was charged with failing to register as a sex offender. God damn. What's going on, FBA? And he is wanted for his role in robberies at 2 stores in Manhattan in July and August, the police said. What's wrong with these guys? Okay. Accountability is a really difficult pill to swallow. I don't think a lot of y'all even know what the definition of accountability is, so let me bring out that definition for you. Accountability definition. The fact or condition of being accountable of responsibility. So that's a lot for some of y'all to even understand what I'm trying to say right now. The acceptance of responsibility for honest and ethical conduct towards others. Does that make sense? Let me run that back. The acceptance of responsibility for honest and ethical conduct towards others. So you accept the fact and you acknowledge the fact that you did something wrong. And you should feel sorry for doing something like that, and you should not do that again. Whatever that may be. All right. Police identified Mr. McGriff as a suspect after he was seen on video near the crime scene, and his parole officer confirmed his identity, Commissioner Tisch said. The violence on Monday began after a man approached Mr. and Mrs. Olton's home on the corner of 254th Street and 87th Drive just after 10 a.m., Commissioner Tisch said. Surveillance video from around the house shows the man interacting with Mr. Olton and eventually entering the house with him, the commissioner said. 5 hours later at 3:08 p.m., the man was seen on video once again, this time leaving the house in a black t-shirt and black hat and walking east on 87th Drive. By 3:22 p.m., the property's fire alarm was ringing and the flames were rising, the police said. The couple's son, an emergency medical technician who was off duty, was alerted to the fire by the home's alarm system. He contacted the fire department, who responded to the scene and put out the blaze, Commissioner Tisch said. Inside, officers discovered Mr. and Mrs. Olton's bodies. Mr. Olton had been tied tethered to a basement pole with a bungee cord and wire, according to a law enforcement official who asked her to remain anonymous because the investigation was open. Mrs. Olton suffered burns, the police said. Emergency medical workers pronounced them dead at the gray two-story house where their neighbors said they had lived for decades. This happened to your parents. There's a man who did that. What would you do? Remember that guy whose son got killed by some police officers, or he went haywire and he just went at those police officers and he thought it was justified to do that? I remember that guy. He was walking through court, all the police officers were there. He stood with his chest high, walking straight, looking into the eyes of the officers because he thought what he did was justified. On Tuesday, Linda Lee, a city councilwoman representing the area, said that since the fire, she had received reports that Mr. McGriff had been knocking on doors asking to use a phone charger. He was recorded on electronic doorbell cameras approaching several houses, she said. He was last seen on video Tuesday after the fire, pawning 2 mobile phones in the Bronx, according to Commissioner Tisch. There was no known connection between Mr. McGriff and the Oltons, Commissioner Tisch said. The couple's exact causes of death are still under the investigation, she said. On Tuesday afternoon, the fire department said that the fire had been deliberately set. The killings sent a wave of horror through the Queens neighborhood, where people remembered the couple as a quiet and friendly presence. Sean Kelly, their nephew, said in a brief phone call on Tuesday that his aunt and uncle had been amazing people, he added. They did not deserve this. Nobody deserves that, bruh. Nobody deserves to be killed, tied, tethered to a pole, tethered and wiped down, stabbed. What was the motive behind it? What was the motive? There should never be a motive to kill. Sarah Rosnowski, 27, whose house faces the couple's home, said they had been benevolent figures when she was growing up, keeping an eye on her and other children when they played soccer and football in the street. She recalled a recent day in May when she found out an injured baby bird and knocked on the couple's door to ask whether the hatchling had fallen from a nest on their property. They went into the backyard to check for the nest, she said. Although they didn't find one, Miss Ranowski said they were really kind about it. On Tuesday, a police officer stood watch outside the remains of the burnt-out home with crime scene tape encircling the lot. The house, which is tucked on a residential street near the border of Nassau County, was badly charred, with buckled siding exposed on the side. Outside on the lawn, the grass was dotted with household debris, fragments of window frames, and a singed armchair. A pair of votive candles and a small bouquet of flowers lay beside a street sign on the curb nearby. Jamel Williams, who lives a few doors down, said he had to come home from a doctor's appointment on Monday afternoon when the babysitter watched his child, calling to say that a nearby house was on fire. When he learned later that the police believed the fire had been deliberately set, he could hardly believe it. This is some true crime horror story type of stuff, Mr. Williams said. James McGriff, this guy's a problem. Close your doors. Hide your husbands, hide your wives, hide your kids. He's out here. He's out here. He's a problem. He killed innocent people, going around trying to get involved to try to. What was the point? People justify the actions that are being made. So, okay, this is what I've heard. People have been justifying certain actions just because they think it's white supremacy. A white supremacist influenced you to kill? A white supremacist influenced you to do wrong to somebody? A white supremacist and told you that you were... No. You're not that slow. We gotta stop putting our hand and pointing towards them, saying that they're the ones that are doing things. It's like the man that just passed away. A lot of people were really happy that he passed away. Why? Somebody perished. It's wrong. I just learned that when it comes to facts, people in general, not just blacks, but just people in general, don't like to hear it, and they don't want to accept. They don't want to accept accountability for the actions that have been taking place. Especially if somebody's having a conversation with you or having a debate with you, and they're bringing up information that's being shown through accredited website or accredited book or accredited place that's showing this is the reason why this. You can't argue with that. You can't just say I'm white and no, you're white. I don't believe you because you're no. What's the thing that these guys always say? It's not I'm white and I say so. The numbers could be skewed. All right, I'll take that. Numbers could be skewed, but if there's countless documentation to support a claim that says that these groups of people are doing this, how could you refute that? I don't know. But we got to start taking accountability. Not just us, but anyone or everyone who's doing certain crimes or crime period. I couldn't believe it. James McGriff. I'm done. Edmund the General signing out. Peace.